So again, welcome everyone to the latest in the Bloom webinar series, Trends in Sustainable Landscaping. Really excited to have our speakers here today and all of you. This has really brought out a wide array of folks, and I think a really important topic. So without further ado, well, actually, I will just reiterate, everyone should stay muted throughout the presentation. But we do encourage you to make comments, ask questions, and you can do so via the chat box. If you look in the control panel, there's a little, like a little comment bubble. If you click on that, you can see the chat, and feel free to type in any questions for our presenters. We will have 3 presenters today, and we will hold all the questions for the end. So we'll probably have about 15 minutes at the end for that. So today's featured speakers, we are going to start by hearing from Chris Piot. Chris is an engineer and the Director of Resource Recovery at DC Water. Chris works environmental to recovery resources throughout the organization, including fertilizer and soil amendments in the form of bloom, green energy from digester gas, soil arrays, and recovered heat, all of which translates to savings of revenue for the organization. He's especially proud of the DC Water Bloom products, which you're going to hear a lot about today. Next, we're going to hear from Alexandra Harry, who is the sustainability representative for the Catholic University of America. There, her responsibilities focus on improving the environmental well-being of the campus and enhancing the university's 176 acres of rolling landscape. Alex's professional background includes concentrations in property management, high-performance building consulting, and energy efficiency. Lastly, we are going to hear from Kelly Fleming, ASLA Sites AP, who is a registered landscape architect with over 20 years of experience. She has a Master of Landscape Architecture and a Master of Design Studies with a concentration in urbanism and ecology from the GSD at Harvard University, and is currently at Moody Graham Landscape Architecture. She employs critical thinking to the various challenges in implementing green infrastructure and low impact development to combat the environmental and sustainability challenges faced by the region. Kelly seeks to integrate thoughtful design with emerging practices grounded in research and technology to support the ecosystems that support us. And I should have introduced myself. I am April Thompson. I am the Director of Marketing and Sales for Bloom, and I will be your facilitator today. So with that, I will turn this over to Chris. Chris?
Thank you. Really appreciate the opportunity here. I'm going to share my screen. Oh, you have to stop sharing yours, I think, first. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yep, I stopped.
All right. A little tiny bit of a lag. I don't see mine quite yet, but I will continue trying.
Yeah, I had something wonky happen where it stopped allowing, it wasn't finding my PowerPoint, and I had to actually load it, which I don't know. Oh, I see something happening. There we go.
All right, I'm going full screen. Can you see that?
Yep, looks good. Thanks.
Great. Yeah, thanks. So I was excited when April asked me to present on Bloom and the sustainability aspects and some of our sustainability efforts at DC Water. The majority of this is going to be talking about Bloom. At the end, I'm going to sneak in some of our green energy sustainability efforts because they dovetail nicely with the DC sustainability plan. We have some pretty aggressive sustainability goals at DC Water. And the short story is that we're trying to adhere to the aggressive sustainability plan that DC has put forth. And we think that we can be part of the solution. Bloom is a big part of that. Our green energy is also a big part of that. So I will move on. We don't even refer to ourselves. I work at Blue Plains. I'm an environmental engineer. Blue Plains is the big advanced wastewater treatment plant in DC. We treat sewage from DC, but also from 2 counties in Maryland, 2 counties in Virginia. We're enormous. And we don't even refer to ourselves as a wastewater treatment plant anymore, but rather as a resource recovery facility, because when we're trying to remove the pollutants, in air quotes, I'm going to use air quotes, we are trying to make sure that nutrients and carbon don't end up in the river and then into the Chesapeake Bay, which would of course cause algae blooms, and it upsets the balance there, and it causes eutrophication. So our entire mission is trying to keep those nutrients, those pollutants, nutrients and carbon out of the bay, but nutrients are fertilizer and carbon is energy. So what we've done is we've put some equipment in place that allows us to make use of it. And before we had these new digesters, which I'm going to show you in a little bit, we made a lower quality biosolids product, and we sent it out to farms in Virginia and Maryland, and the farmers were very excited to get it. But we had to truck it a really long ways away, and it cost us a bunch of money to do that. We got a little bit of revenue back, but what we wanted to do was make a really high quality product that we could use in an urban area so that we could heal some of the environmental scars in our service area and tighten that circle so we don't have as many truck miles on the road, and make use of the product in DC. So we think that we have the best of both worlds. There are some agencies that dry their solids into a 90% solids mass and then burn it for electricity. And that's not terribly sustainable. It takes as much energy to drive the water off as you get in electricity out of it. So what I believe that what we have is really the perfect scenario where we get some green energy. It's an enormous amount. Actually, it's about a third of what we need at the plant. And we're returning some of that carbon back to the land from which it came. That's where it should end up. So there's value in biosolids. We've known this forever. Even when we were sending our lower quality biosolids out to farms, they understood that there's organic matter in there that they're not getting in a chemical fertilizer. There's both macro and micronutrients in the biosolids. There's energy, as I mentioned, and it's really not inaccurate to say that we're applying energy to the farmers' fields, because if they're using our product, they're not buying something like ammonium nitrate, which takes an enormous amount of energy to make. You need natural gas to make ammonium nitrate. So it is an energy use. We're not paid as if it's an energy use in that case, but nonetheless, it is an energy use. We've done some work at Virginia Tech that shows that when our products are used in agriculture, at least, and in greenhouses, the plants need less water, and they're able to resist stress better. And that's because of the microbial activity that we have at the plant. A couple of the processes to remove carbon and nitrogen are microbial processes. And when these microbes work, they're naturally occurring microbes. When they do their work of converting the organic nitrogen into plant available inorganic nitrogen, they secrete these essential plant hormones, auxins and cytokinins, which plants need to get through stressful conditions. You guys probably know all this, but anyways, our product, because of the microbial activity, has elevated levels of these naturally occurring hormones. So it's really good. And that comes from the beneficial microbes that are in the biosolids. So about 5 years ago, we built these digesters. It was a long and arduous path of design and approval, and it's preceded by these tanks here. This is the Canopy thermal hydrolysis process. It's a technology that is all over Europe, but this is the first one in North America, and it's the largest one in the world. Woo. We love our superlatives. And what it does is it prepares the solids for the digesters, and we get a really, really high quality product out of the digesters, out of the bottom of the digesters, including as well as gas out of the top. And because of this, we have new marketing opportunities because we have a much, much more stable product. It meets EPA Class A standards, which means we can sell it to the public. And it's an exceptionally good product. I'm not just saying that, it's really good. So I'm going to geek out just for a second because I'm an engineer and I think this is cool. Just to show you how it works, this is the thermal hydrolysis process. The solids come in, we collect these solids through different processes in the plant, and it gets heated up to 160 degrees centigrade. That's not Fahrenheit, that's centigrade. So it's well above boiling. It's well above pasteurization. And it's held in these reactor tanks for 22 minutes. So that is, again, well above the time temperature relationship you need for pasteurization. It completely kills all the pathogens. And it's also under high pressure. This has 11 bars of pressure. We operated at about 9 bars of pressure, nine times atmospheric pressure. And And that serves to hydrolyze the cells because this last tank here is back at atmospheric pressure, and that sudden pressure difference causes the cells to burst. So what we have is sterile, no pathogens, no living organisms in here, and highly available food for the hungry microbes in the digesters. So we get more gas production in the digesters. We get a better stable product coming out of the bottom. And this is what it looks like in practice. You know, we collect the solids, it goes through the thermal hydrolysis, it gets held in the tanks here for about 20 days. We collect the gas off the top. We clean it up in a building over here. We burn the gas in, we have 3 5-megawatt turbines to make clean, green, renewable energy, which we use on the plant. And turbines, when they spin, they generate a lot of heat, and you have to shed that heat or you're going to melt your turbine. So we put heat recovery steam generators at the end of each of those, recover the heat, convert it to steam, and then that is what we use to heat up the Canopy process. So it's incredibly energy efficient. We've lowered our carbon footprint by a third. It's been enormously beneficial. And then out of the bottom of the digesters comes this very stable biosolids product, which we then market to the public because it is pathogen free. We have established a really nice relationship with the DC gardening community, Urban Ag. We go to their events, we put up our booth, we give presentations, we answer questions, and as a result, we've been able to get on a lot of the community gardens, a lot of school gardens, including the Washington Youth Garden here at the Arboretum. They teach urban kids where food comes from. I have 3 urban kids, and I sometimes worry that they think food comes from the grocery store, so this is a really good program. And she used our product and had really great results. It was great. So who are our customers? It's really it's a list of all the movers and shakers in the landscaping and soil production and soil use and soil blending world here in the DC metro area. We give tours. Anybody who wants to come out and see the plant and see how the product is made, we will certainly help them out. But if you're a first-time user, you would be in a very strong company. Our customers grow agricultural products. We do horticultural work. Some golf courses are using it. There's some vintners that are using it as well. As I mentioned, we're on school gardens. We do wetland restorations. We have one very, very strong partner who helps us with these, who we help with these wetland restoration projects. So there's a whole wide variety of potential uses for this Bloom product. And I say Bloom, you know, we decided since we had such a good product, and there are other lower quality biosolids products in the region that still go out to agriculture but can't be sold to the public. We wanted to separate ourselves from those products, and we registered a trademark and a logo. Bloom, we're very, very proud of this. The infinity symbol, of course, is sort of self-explanatory. It's returning the carbon and the nutrients back to the earth from which it came. I like the tagline because good soil, that's very obvious, but better earth opens up the conversation to talking about carbon sequestration and the production of green energy and lowering our carbon footprint. We have a website. I encourage you all to take a look at it, bloomsoil.com. There's tons of information on there. There are videos with testimonials. We have product spec sheets, and you can order product there. We make a variety of products. We make some blends on site. We have 2 that we make quite a bit of, and then we make some others sort of on spec as well. And I snuck this into the capital budget a few years ago, and it's just a roof over a pad and some push walls. And then we bought this piece of equipment, and we've got our heavy equipment operator and crane operator team working the soil mixer here, making blends for us. We also have a small greenhouse where we do demonstration trials and grow things that we give away at events. It's really nice. So the first of our blends that we make is a woody blend. It's it's really it's good for gardeners and groundskeepers and landscapers. It's been used on golf courses and a couple other prominent users here listed here. It's available right now from resellers, Rock Sand and Stone, as well as at Blue Plains. And there's some information about the specs, about 7.5 to 8 on the pH range. We do make a sand sawdust blend as well, which is really great for top dressing. Catholic University, who's going to talk a little bit later, uses some of it, and we've used it at Mount Vernon as well, the Washington state. And we have a cured bloom product. This is the most stable, the driest product, and we can put it in a bag, so it's great. We work with Homestead Gardens and others to put it into bags. It's available right now at retailers like Annie's Ace Hardware in Petworth, I think is the neighborhood in DC, and in bulk and in bags from Homestead Gardens. And this is a product that I think is ideal for individual homeowners. Go get a bag, use it on your lawn. It's fantastic. And it is really great for lawns. I mean, we've had a lot of testimonials. I love this one. This is somebody who put in a new lawn, and you know, this wasn't overnight, but it was very shortly afterwards. They had this beautiful lush lawn that really, I think, a lot of it had to do with the fact that they use bloom. So we do have a lot of different users of bloom. I'm, especially proud of some of these. This is, of course, upper left. That is the National Mall, and the architect of the Capitol uses some of our blends on the mall and around the tidal basin. They used one of our products mulching around the cherry trees. They're very happy with the product, and it's it's just such a nice showcase to say that it's being used in those situations. Lower left here is the Tacoma Rec Center, right in the middle of DC. A contractor was doing some landscaping there and revegetating, and they brought out some of our bloom and used it. Worked quite well. These two photos go together in the middle. This is a project that we did with Lane Construction. Is on the Route 5 in Prince George's County, Maryland. They were doing an interchange, and part of the project, of course, was to get grass growing on the clover leaf off of the interchange, and the soil was so horrible they couldn't get anything to grow. And they were actually having problems finding enough consistent compost from one supplier to do the whole project. So we said, well, that's one thing that we have is consistency of product, and we have a lot of it. So we think we can help you out. So we worked with them, with the Maryland State Highway Authority, included our product as the carbon and organic compound of the mix, and got it accepted. And it was in the spec for that project. And, right afterwards they seeded, and it was this verdant green carpet of beautiful grass. And on the right here, this is Homestead Gardens. Especially proud of the fact that we have it in bags in stores. We've only been selling for 5 years, and we're very happy that we're making this kind of progress. So I'm going to veer off a little bit and talk about some of our other sustainability efforts, just because I'm very proud of them, and they're all really tied together. Sort of buoyed on the success of, or buoyed by the success of Bloom, we decided, well, what other resources can we recover? My umbrella doesn't just cover Blue Plains. It also is supposed to look at all of the assets in the organization and turn over rocks and see where we can find things that are unrealized assets. So we've got this map that we did looking at all kinds of different energy uses. And we have been able to implement a few of them. We are currently in the midst of a giant solar project at Blue Plains. Phase 1 is the stuff that's not in the green boxes. It's on top of roofs and on parking lots, and it's going to be about 4.5 megawatts of power, which is pretty great. And that is nearing the end of construction. Phase 2 will be on top of tanks. We have a design. We don't have a schedule to put it up yet, but eventually, if we get it up, it'll be another 10.5 megawatts of power. So we can get 15 megawatts of power out of solar at Blue Plains. And we're also looking at offsite solar on top of reservoirs. We are close to signing a deal to do solar on top of Brentwood Reservoir, which is about 1.5 megawatts. Again, these are assets that we should be making use of because they can generate value for us and for our ratepayers. We also are doing sewer heat recovery. This is something that, again, it hasn't been done in the U.S. And we're very, very proud of this. We have one sewer heat recovery project in DuPont Circle and another in our new headquarters. This thing is entirely heated by heat that we recover out of the sewers. It's really the same as geotech or a geothermal energy recovery, where you would drill a deep well and pull heat out of not the center of the earth, but deep within the earth. Because there's all kinds of BTUs in the sewers. You know, we put hot water in our homes, and then it travels down to Blue Plains in insulated pipes, insulated by the earth, and then we put those BTUs out into the river, which isn't great. So we're trying to recover some of those and heat up buildings. And we've got a couple more projects coming on too. And really, it was all spawned from the start of Bloom, because everybody said, all right, why don't you guys try and sell this material? And the response has been so positive, and we've been able to show that this product that was formerly considered to be a waste product in our profession is truly recognized as an asset. And if we get it into the right form, we can generate savings and revenue, and, as I mentioned, heal some environmental scars. April, that's all I have for today.
Great. Thank you so much. This was fantastic. We have a number of questions that have come in, but I want to go ahead to our second speaker, and then we will take all the questions at the end.
Yep.
If you want to stop sharing, and then Alex, you are up.
Sure. Thanks, Chris. We'll start sharing my screen.
There, I think I just stopped sharing.
Everyone can see my screen? Okay. So hi, everyone. I'm Alex Harry. I'm the Assistant Director for Sustainability Initiatives and Grounds. So I'm charged with fostering the environmental stewardship of the campus. And then I'm also the Assistant Director of the Grounds Department. So it has a really nice dovetail between sustainability and how we manage the landscape on campus. So today I'm going to talk about the different approaches that the university has to maintaining a sustainable landscape. A lot of that does come from our work with the topsoils that we've been using with Bloom, the great partnership there. But it really does kind of build on a larger framework of how we're maintaining a landscape in a more sustainable way, and then how it also crosses over into the university's wider initiatives towards sustainability. So just to give you a little bit of background, if you're not familiar with the university, we're based in Northeast DC. The university was founded in about 1887. It's 176 acres right now. That means the university is the largest campus in DC as far as size goes. There's about 50 buildings and about 6,000 students. The campus character, as you see on the map there, it's kind of defined by three characteristics: the pastoral landscape, so the rolling, non-formal mode landscape, and that kind of dominates most of the campus. And then the picturesque landscape, which is really just kind of the forested areas of campus. So you can see my cursor. This area here is mostly forest, and then we have, just to give you a sense of scale, this is about 49 acres here of mostly forest. And then we also have a formal landscape. So these dark blue, green areas of campus are the more formal, kind of like the mall areas, the areas where we have the ceremonies, graduations, etc., kind of dominate in these darker green areas. So when I say sustainability, what I mean for the university is that the vision statement is really that all of the community members, wherever they are, whether they're staff or their faculty, are motivated and inspired to take steps where they are to reduce their carbon footprint and improve environmental quality. So since we are a faith-based institution rooted in the Catholic Church, was actually founded by the American Council of Catholic Bishops, we've kind of expanded that definition to be the 3 Ps. You know, some folks might have heard of people, planet, and prosperity. And then the underlying part of Catholic identity, kind of unifying all those pieces together. So just to move a little bit to the environmental stewardship initiatives that we have on campus, especially as it regards to landscaping, we have 3 buildings that have green roofs. So this building here is the main emissions building for campus, O'Connell Hall. We also have a very large green roof. Let me go back to this other slide here. So if you look here, under this area right here, this is between the law school and the dining hall. Underneath this area here is a parking garage. So at the time, it was built in probably the early 90s. It was actually a civic marvel of the city because the roof of it is a green roof. So a lot of folks don't know that it's not as easy to see. There's kind of an incline there, but it is classified as a green roof. We also have a very large tree canopy. I mentioned earlier about the forested areas that the university controls. At last count, we have about 1,500 trees on campus. And then as with keeping up with the landscaping trends, we do have a series of initiatives that kind of favor native and adapted plants on campus. So anytime there's a major renovation of one of the buildings or landscaping, we always try to incorporate native and adapted plants wherever we can. As far as other stewardship initiatives, we're located, being that we're located in DC, and flooding and stormwater management is a very large concern, not just with the university, but also with the city. We have a large number of stormwater devices on campus. We have more than 70 at last count. So this, and the picture here is actually a series of bioretentions. And we've used a lot of native and adapted plants here to kind of keep, some visual interest instead of just having kind of an open grade or a storm sector. We decided to make this a pedestrian pathway, and there's actually the engineering school is studying to see the volume of stormwater that's being collected and the quality and the quantity of that rainwater. So it's become a kind of a area of visual interest, and it's also become an area for research. Another initiative that we have on campus is limiting irrigation. So a lot of the buildings, new buildings, whether it's a new construction or a major renovation, the idea is that we're going to pursue LEED certification. So a lot of that has to do with limiting permanent irrigation at the site in order to capture some additional LEED credits. Other initiatives that we have, the grounds department deploys environmentally friendly de-icers where we can. We just underwent a very large utility upgrade. We upgraded our old steam system to a chilled hot water loop, chilled hot water loop. So it basically ripped up large swaths of asphalt and sidewalks. So we have a lot of new pavement on campus. So in order to look ahead to this past winter and the upcoming winter, we're preferring more environmentally friendly de-icers. And then one of the newer initiatives, and this is where Bloom comes we're using top dressing from unlikely sources. It really kind of plays into the environmental stewardship initiatives on campus. We're trying to use something that's more natural, that doesn't have a lot of chemicals. And the Bloom product, we really have had great results when it comes to restoring some of those formal landscaped areas, as well as the athletic fields on campus. And so just to talk a little bit about the sustainability plan, earlier this month, we just unleashed our 5-year sustainability plan, and it's based on four pillars of kind of initiatives and goals, with the major impacts being a reduction in water, as you'll see here, energy, waste, and carbon. And so a lot of the initiatives are arranged in these 4 columns or pillars here. The first one being living Laudato Si. So a lot of it is about establishing communication protocols and really kind of having a dialogue about faith in the environment, and also having a transparency about how we benchmark and how much water the university is consuming, energy, greenhouse gas emissions, et cetera. The second one is about leadership and recognition. So it's really about going out for LEED certifications, raising awareness about the great efforts that we're doing publicly, not just on campus, but to our partners like Bloom and other folks in the industries. And then our third pillar is facilities and the 3 Ps. So 3 Ps, again, being people, planet, and prosperity. So it's about promoting alternative transportation, increasing solar on campus, incorporating zero waste best practices. And then the third one is really about engagement. So whether that's with the people on campus or our neighbors in Brookland and in DC, regionally, that's kind of the 4th pillar there. And so when it comes to landscaping, there are a series of initiatives listed in the 5-year plan. One being to do another tree survey to really get a sense of how many trees in all of the forested areas that we actually have to have an accurate count of that. We'd also like to recertify the university as a tree campus that's run by the Arbor Foundation. And then also increase tree plantings. There's been a very big interest from students and faculty on increasing tree plantings. So we wanted to partner with some of the other organizations in our neighborhood to increase tree plantings on campus as well. And then as far as that engagement piece, creating a student-led tree tour is another interest that I've seen recently. And then again, with trees is kind of having another research piece of studying the carbon sequestration of trees that we have on campus. And then this picture here is from a community garden that we had 5 years ago on campus. And so there's renewed interest in bringing back the community garden. And I'm crossing my fingers that this is something that happens in the near future. And I'm sure with the Bloom products, we'll be able to deploy those in the student garden area. And so I wanted to thank April and the rest of the team for inviting me to speak today. My contact information is here, and I'm looking forward to the Q&A towards the end of the talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. That was great. You have such a
Thank
cool job, and it's really neat to see what Catholic is doing. Kelly, you're up.
Okay, I'm unmuted now. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, everyone can see my screen?
Sure can.
Okay, great. Thank you. Hi, I want to thank April again for inviting us to present the work that we're doing at Moody Graham and to talk about our views on sustainability and how we're promoting the sustainable practices in our work. First of all, I just want to let you know we're a small practice. We're about 10 people, and we're in Northeast DC, and we focus our work primarily or largely in DC, but we work outside in the region as well. But let's get back to sustainability, and I want to just get on the same page about what we mean when we discuss sustainability. Sustainability and regenerative design have become buzzwords in the design field. So what do we mean when we use these terms? Of course, Oxford definition of sustainability is the ability to be maintained at a certain rate or level, and also the avoidance or the depletion of natural resources in order to maintain an ecological balance. Also, a definition that many of us think of when describing sustainability, it means meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs, and also includes maintaining and enhancing ecosystem services, but it also means healthy individuals participating in stable institutions and profitable and enduring businesses. And this slide is part of the Sustainable Sites Initiative.
Hey, Kelly, sorry to interrupt you, but we're not seeing your slides moving here.
No?
I can help you navigate forward here. Which slide are you on here?
I'm on slide 4.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we were still on the opening slide.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I've got you caught up here.
Okay, so is it something with my screen, or is it the sharing, do you think? Or
I'm not sure, but if you like, just say next slide and I'll advance it for you, and then we can be sure.
Okay, that works for me. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so we're on slide 4 now. Again.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm told that was just on my screen. Okay, so let's see. Can you go ahead and give it a go? Otherwise, I can try.
April, it's also stuck on the first slide on mine. Maybe it's just those of us who are presenting.
Yeah, Kelly, so
I just moved it to slide 5 if someone could confirm that they're moving.
Chris?
Not for me, but I am still on the first slide.
Okay. Let's see here. Oops.
A bunch of people are chatting.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
April,
I
this is Ron. I see a clicker. I can actually move the slides I'm watching it, but I can move it myself.
Right. I think that's probably not the preferable way.
Yeah.
Though. So let me, Kelly, can you stop sharing and maybe just try once more?
Yes, I will.
This worked fine this morning, of course.
Sure
The gremlins are in the mix again.
Just as I was afraid of.
Otherwise, I can probably load up your slides. Oh, now you look frozen.
How's that?
There we go. We see sustainability in practice.
Good.
All right, thanks. Proceed.
Apologies all for that. So I'll move ahead and just talk about sustainability in practice, and I'll briefly discuss this diagram, which demonstrates the relationship between inputs and outputs as they relate to a regenerative or a degenerative system. And sustainable is neutral, or as Bill McDonough says, 100% less bad. And conventional practice follows what is mandated, but typically does no more. And unfortunately, from a sustainability viewpoint, this is where the majority of design practices are. And so we're trying to do better. The next level up are voluntary green rating systems such as LEED, Green Globes, sites that award points for sustainable practices beyond which is mandated. But again, ultimately, as a society, we need to go beyond sustainable. And that's a much longer conversation, of course, but we need to start thinking about that. But sustainability means a closed loop system or breaking even, which means you're not using more than can be replenished. So we can't be sustainable in everything we do because our modern industrial society is based on non-renewable resource use. So where we can, we want to be as regenerative as we can. And regenerative systems over time, they will provide more ecosystem services over time than they started with. So for instance, this Ward 5 family shelter green roof is an example. Green roofs, when they're first installed, they're going to handle stormwater, they're going to manage stormwater, but they can also in time produce habitat for pollinators and birds. And so then you're seeing over time that this green roof is doing actually more than the baseline mandate just by incorporating some different plants into the green roof mix. So a regenerative system will use less energy, which results in a more stable system, and use renewable energies such as sun, wind, water, and geothermal when necessary. Regenerative systems put more carbon in the soil, and they also put more water back into the groundwater. So regenerative systems create a microclimate buffer with age, such as like a tree buffer or a forest, and they create more habitat for a greater species diversity, which means that their greater amount of species is using the same resource. These systems can even provide food for humans. This plan is showing, this is a plan view of a housing development that is anticipated to start construction in 2021. And the developer Stack 8 were looking to create a passive solar environment for affordable housing that will then produce energy into the future. And we're going for Living Building Challenge accreditation for this one. But in addition to the solar panels, the stormwater management is an actual garden that the residents will be able to sit around and to look upon. But even in the back, instead of a typical planting, we're creating a food forest that with pawpaw trees and other fruiting shrubs that the residents can utilize. They can actually use or grow or garden back there in the back of the property. And this is a section through that particular project that shows the stormwater management in the center and the forest buffer planting with pawpaws to the left. So what can we as designers do to move towards sustainability and beyond? And so we've heard some of talk about sourcing local materials. So that's really important because that's going to reduce the impact from long distance shipping or trucking or however your materials get to the site. We're trying to develop an understanding of natural systems to be able to predict how nature wants to go, such as observing seed banks, water regimes, or soils. And we want to do this so that we're not trying to modify the environment to do what we want it to do. We're trying to work with the environment, and so there will be less input into that system. So we wanted to develop a knowledge of existing soils and what they can support through soil testing. So again, right plant, right place. If we can match the appropriate plants to the conditions, that will minimize the amount of maintenance, conflict, and survivorship of plants. This also means projecting potential future scenarios due to climate change. You know, thinking about will this tree that currently survives in our climate, we need to look at species that that are more adapted to warmer climates. So that's something that we're thinking about. But we're also incorporating native plants into our designs. We've been doing this for a while. We've got an affinity for native plants, but we're not solely native. But as we've been following researcher Doug Colony, he suggests 70% of native plants will provide the food sources for birds needed for them to raise their young. So, so those plant choices are really important. We're trying to eliminate fertilizers, which again are fossil fuels, and rely on organic amendments, and use irrigation solely for plant establishment and extended periods of drought, not to rely on it for everyday use. We're going to choose plants for multiple ecosystem services, as excuse me. We want to choose plants for the multiple ecosystem services that they can provide in addition to their appearance. And again, using native plants can support native pollinators and butterflies and bees and birds. On the left is the milkweed plant. We try to put some milkweed into our projects that will support the monarch butterflies. And we also are looking to choose our plants from nurseries that don't use neonicotinoids, which are systemic pesticides that are contributing to the decline of bees in North America. We can also design plantings to create habitat through layering. For instance, choosing deep rooting plants for carbon sequestration, using trees that produce fruit, and also promoting urban farming. These are a couple of projects that we've worked on that are in line with those values. And we're very thankful to April because she's been helping us right now adopt Bloom soil conditioners into our soil amendment specifications. So by using Bloom, we'll be closing a carbon loop by reusing a waste product. And we're really excited about that and looking forward to seeing how our gardens grow after we've had a chance to see them installed. So these are a lot of the practices that we've adopted to do our part. So other initiatives, again, we were talking about sustainable materials. So we've begun to specify black locust and kebony in place of tropical hardwoods such as ipe, both to support, the decline of, or to help, or to stop the decline of the over-harvesting of those resources, as well as to reduce the impact of shipping those products over long distances where black locust can be is grown domestically. And in addition to those practices I've mentioned, we've also developed design strategies that have been proven through research to maximize health benefits for people, recognizing that health and resiliency are key to achieving sustainability as well. So welcoming sun and air, bringing gardens inside, planting a tree for every window. That just looking out on greenery has been shown to improve health outcomes for people in the hospital. Enrich the edges, provide open views, shake hands with plants. We want people to get close up to plants so they appreciate them and they want to take care of them. Layered gardens, which I've spoken about, that will help create more diversity for wildlife and cover the soil. But also things that embrace self-fascination, providing places to sit, encouraging 20 minutes in nature. These are all things that are enriching to us and to our clients and to the people that we design for. And reveal time, of course, time is a huge part of everything that we do. The landscape is ever changing. But finally, make it beautiful. Because if it isn't beautiful, it isn't sustainable. Sustainability goals are not in conflict with creating beautiful gardens, but we believe bringing people in closer contact with nature will inspire others to cherish it. And that's all I have for today. So thank you.
Wow, Kelly, thank you. This was fantastic. I want to print out that 12-point manifesto and try to incorporate that into my life and landscape. So we do have a few moments for questions here, and we do have a few that have come in. If people do have additional questions, feel free to chime in now. We can stay off stay on a few extra minutes to handle any questions since we're running a little short here. Going back through here, so we've got there was a question I know about contaminants for Chris. Chris, someone wanted to know how you control for heavy metals and pharmaceuticals. Question that comes up a lot.
Hi, sorry, I was muted. I was about to say, great question. We test for metals and pharmaceuticals on a schedule that's more frequent than required by EPA. We have a robust pre-treatment program with inspectors that go out and inspect our industries, and they do sampling. And it's usually clandestine sampling, so they don't know we're coming. And we bring the samples back to our lab or send them out. And if we find that somebody is dumping more into the sewers than is allowed by their permit, we have the ability and the right to cap their sewers, and that effectively puts them out of business. So they take it very seriously, and as a result, we have very, 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 very low metals in our biosolids. Part of it is there's not a lot of industry in DC, but part of it is this pre-treatment program that we have as well. I mean, we are routinely an order of magnitude below what is allowed by EPA, so it's extremely low. And the same applies for pharmaceuticals. The analytical methods have gotten so good that we can find very, 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 very small concentrations in just about anything. And we do find some pharmaceuticals in the bloom, but they are, again, many, many orders of magnitude lower than in the products that we use every day or that we buy off our shelves in the stores. So the risk is very low. It's a long way of saying the risk is very low. Oh, you're muted, April.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, we had another question, which I can handle or you can handle, but Deborah Lind wanted to know what product is best for restoring lawns and heavy clay soil.
Why don't you take it?
Okay, sure. So we, as Chris noted, we've got a few different blends, and we have found that our sandy blend is actually really great for lawns in general and for turf. We do typically recommend, if you've got compacted clay soils, you're going to want to do the hard work of digging that up, getting down to, a good half a foot, and incorporating that before seeding, so that you're really, getting that those nutrients where they need to be. You can also top dress with it, but it's just going to serve you better over the long haul if you can incorporate it. So that sandy blend is available directly through Blue Plains. It is a minimum 15 yard order. We do have a couple of resellers that do smaller deliveries. So you can look on our website and look at our resellers. And in a moment, I will put up a slide that has where you can get more information if you're, a landscaper, homeowner, et cetera. So you can always reach out to us and we can help you more. There's also a question here about PFAS that I will shoot back to you, Chris, which is, do we test for PFAS? And maybe you could also preface that by telling everyone what PFAS is, because some people may not be aware.
Yeah, PFAS is a chemical that is sort of a legacy chemical that is considered to be bad. It comes from a lot of different industries. It's in fire retardants and different things. It's in upholstery on furniture. It's a lot of different things. We have done some testing for it, and this is one of those ubiquitous chemicals. It shows up almost everywhere, and we have found very, 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 very small concentrations. Again, way, way below the products that we use every day. I haven't done this, but I want to do this. I'm going to test my dryer lint, and I'm positive that the dryer lint is going to be orders of magnitude higher than what we find in the biosolids. But yes, it is. It's around. We've tested it. We're actually in the process of starting a research project to look at some of these chemicals with collaborating with different entities.
Great. Malcolm had a sort of comment / question, I guess, which is that he went to purchase a 25-pound bag of Bloom the other day and found it to be 3 times the cost of similar products such as leaf grow, and curious to know how that price differential affects sales. I would say our cured Bloom is not similar to leaf grow, and if it's 3 times the cost, then it's probably equal to the cost in terms of how much you will need, because leaf grow, you would need basically 5 times what you would need of the cured Bloom. The cured Bloom is concentrated. It is registered as a fertilizer as opposed to a soil amendment, which is what leaf grow is. So you're going to need 10%, say, of the cured product as opposed to leaf grow suggesting a 50-50 blend. I would also say that at the retail level, we may have suggested retail prices, but retailers set their own prices. So that may also be what they have deemed it comparable at. It gets confusing, and there's so many at the retail level when you're talking bag products. There's so many different products sort of side by side that are not really equivalent, and that requires a lot of education, I think. So whereas we're more concentrated than leaf grow, we're less concentrated than Milorganite, which we sometimes get compared to. So we have point of sale materials to try to help educate consumers about that and why we think it is worth the price. So we are at time here, so I just want to thank all of our presenters today and all of you for tuning in. I know a number of you tuned in midway. We did record this, and we will share out the recording afterwards, so you can review that. Let me actually quickly pull up the slide that I had here. Why is it not finding it again? Oh well, I'm going to skip that, but I will just verbally tell you guys where you can go to learn more, which is bloomsoil.com. If you have any queries regarding landscape or construction, you can reach out to my colleague Victoria at bloomsoil.com. I am happy to handle any questions related to landscape architects, retail level sales, bag sales, and any marketing or industry partnerships. And I'm at april@bloomsoil.com. I also encourage you to join us on social media. You can find us on Instagram at bloom.soil. We occasionally do giveaways, so it's great to join us there. And then on Facebook at Bloom Soil, just Bloom Soil altogether. So again, thank you so much, Kelly, Alex, Chris, for sharing all that you all are doing to make our landscape more sustainable. It's really inspiring. And again, thanks to everyone for tuning out to listen. And we'll see you for the next one, hopefully. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, April.
Thanks, April.
Take care, everyone.